Hi there, and welcome to the Mindful Marathon podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Quirk, a run coach and pediatrician. Mindful Marathon is all about helping runners of all types to run their own race. Whether you are a seasoned runner or you're just getting started, I want to let you know that you're welcome here and that you're in the right place. Hi, my friend. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we are on episode 48, which is really crazy to think that almost a year has gone by since I started this journey in podcasting. Today's episode is titled From 5 Minutes to 5K, A Beginner's Journey to Becoming a Runner. And I decided to do a special series here. This is the first in a special series where I just wanted to weave a little bit of my own story into running lessons for you. And I don't think I've shared a lot of this on the podcast before. I know I've shared bits and pieces, so hopefully this will help to fill in some of the blanks. But in 2012, I was a brandy new doctor, just finished my pediatrics residency. I was newly married, moved to a new place. Honestly, running was not on my radar. But that year was really tough, but also it was really a life-changing year that set me on the path, which eventually led to my first 5K and beyond, and now coaching runners like you. So, who is this episode for? It is for beginner runners who are thinking, can I really even call myself a runner? It's for anyone who feels too busy, too stressed, or not athletic enough to get started. It is for those runners who have taken some time off, whether that was an intentional period of rest or if it was forced upon you due to injury. I've been there also. And you may be working your way back into training for an upcoming race. Now, speaking of training for your next race, I wanted to let you know I have a free workshop coming up in a couple of weeks called The Confident Runner Formula: 5 Secrets to Training for Your Next Race. I'll be sharing the strategies that I've used to help runners go from their very first miles to crossing the finish line. And I'll share more details at the end of this episode. But if you're ready to start planning your next race, or even if it's your first race, you're going to want to stick around for that at the end. Okay, so let me set the scene for you. Many of you who've listened to the podcast, you know that I was not always a runner. I was not a kid who was athletic in any way. I struggled with the mile run that they made us do in gym class. And I used to look at the cross country team and the track team and think that they were made of some sort of different genetic material than I was. And so needless to say, running was like not on my radar for a very long time. I had tried to run a number of times, like in college and in med school, and I just felt like I couldn't do it. I always ended up trying to go around the block and ending up like huffing and puffing, red in the face, and feeling awful. So, 2012, I finished my pediatrics residency. I'm newly married. Tony and I moved to a new place, started new jobs. We were commuting an hour in opposite directions. It was an adjustment and a tough time already. And my dad was diagnosed with lung cancer in the spring of that year. And he really went downhill in the fall. He initially had surgery and was doing pretty well, but then had a lot of health issues in the fall, and we learned that it was metastatic. And unfortunately, he passed away in November of 2012. And so, suffice it to say that this was the second half of that year was a really hard time for me, physically, mentally, emotionally, all the things. I was tired. Part of that was my job and working shift work and night shifts and all of this. But looking back, I was definitely on a kind of treadmill, but I didn't realize it at the time. And I remember having this realization one night. I was working in the emergency department and I was seeing a patient and his family, and I was talking all about healthy lifestyle, healthy nutrition, and exercise, and all of these things. And I thought, here you are, like talking the talk, but you're not walking the walk. Like, I was not really doing anything for exercise at that point. Maybe I was taking some walks. I was trying to go to Zumba classes at the Y, but I was not very consistent about it, and it was not like a dedicated effort. And so, with all of this going on, the first step was that I decided that something had to change. And the question is, why running? I think it was like the first thing that popped into my head. I thought, well, I have a pair of running sneakers. You don't need that much gear. It's like a pretty low barrier to entry. It's accessible. My neighborhood is safe. Like I can go out and run around the block. So that's what I did. I remember coming home from that shift. I slept. I think it was like a 5P to 1A shift, something crazy. And I woke up the next day, dug my running sneakers out of the closet, dusted them off, put them on, decided I'm gonna go around the block 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, and see how that goes. And I did that, and I committed to doing it 3 times a week. So I started with 5 minutes around the block 3 times a week. Again, I had no fancy gear, no app, no real plan, just my running sneakers. Put my hair up in a ponytail, and off I went. And I think I realized quite quickly, first of all, I enjoyed how I was feeling while I was out there. I enjoyed getting my heart rate up and sweating a little bit, and I found out really quickly that I enjoyed the quiet of my mind that I experienced while I was out there jogging. And so running became an outlet. It was a way to process the stress and all that was going on at the time. And so, yeah, when my dad passed away, I mean, those last 6 months of 2012 were really not great. I mean, that's an understatement. I kept running. 5 minutes became 10, became 20, became 30. And then in the new year of 2013, Tony and I set our very first race goal. We decided to sign up. We lived in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania at the time, and so we decided to sign up for it's called the Spirit of Gettysburg 5K. And we kept to a pretty consistent schedule. We ran about 3 times a week leading up to that race. And I remember the day of the race. It was a really hot day, as it is here in June. And I remember seeing the pace groups, like the signs for the pace groups at the start of the race. And I remember us lining up way in the back. And I was really excited, but I also had a lot on my mind, like a lot of imposter syndrome. Like, what the heck am I doing here? I'm not a runner. I don't belong here. I don't even know why we signed up for this. And so we ran the race. I'm speaking for myself here. I haven't talked to Tony about his feelings, but I thought it was really hard. I mean, it was really fun, but it was hard. There were some hills. We ran sort of along the battlefield, one of the battlefields in Gettysburg, but it was really fun. And I remember feeling that sense of community, like I'm running with a bunch of strangers, but we all have a common goal. This is pretty cool. Crossing the finish line, I couldn't believe I did it, honestly. And I wish I could tell you that I had some kind of identity shift in the moment, and then like after that race I went around proclaiming I'm now a runner. But that was not the case at all. That took years, a lot of years actually. And that's okay. I think we all come to the sport with different experiences, and we may not think of ourselves as a runner, especially not at the beginning, and that's okay. So, I'm going to share my 5 lessons from my journey to that first 5K, and I hope that you enjoy these lessons. So, number 1 is find your why. Find your why. So, my why started as stress relief and walking the walk for my patients, honestly. And my why has changed over the years. And I would say that I reevaluate it fairly often these days. But when I first started, I wasn't totally clear on it. I mean, if you had asked me, I think I could have articulated it, but what I would encourage you to do is to write it down. So if you're driving or you're running right now, do not write it down. But yes, when you get home, grab a pencil in your journal and think about what is your running why, or what is your why to get started on this journey. Maybe it's health, maybe it's self-care, community, mental health, confidence. I can't answer that for you, but spend a little bit of time and consider what is your why, and write it down, because it will help when things get hard or when you question your decision. Number two, oh, this is important. Okay, number two. I'm looking at my notes here. So, number two is start low, go slow. So, I talk about this really often. A common beginner pitfall, I would say, is doing too much too soon. It's really easy to do that when you start with something new. Start with something doable. If you're coming from the couch, start with 5 minutes or 10 minutes, the same way I did. That's eventually how I got to my first 5K. And depending on where you're starting from, you can increase the duration of the run and the frequency of how many times a week you're doing it from your starting point. So I always try to, when I work with a new athlete, figure out what is your schedule and what are you already doing, and how can we enhance all of that? So, you might be a person who walks really regularly, like 3 or 4 or even 5 times a week. So, if you want to start a running routine, how about you make 1 or 2 of those walking days? You start inserting run walk intervals into your longer walk, and that's how you get started. So, I don't want you to replace what you're doing. If you have an exercise or a workout routine that's already really great and working for you, we just add running to that. We enhance what you're already doing. So that's the start low part. Now, in terms of going slow, I know I've talked about this before on the podcast for sure, several times, but we're going to talk again about level of effort scale. So you don't need any fancy equipment. Like now I have my handy Garmin watch. There are lots of apps you can download on your phone to figure out pacing and all of these things. But when you start out, really, I would encourage you to tap into your level of effort scale. And what I mean by that, I have a scale 1 to 10. 1 would be a brisk walk, 10 would be a bear is chasing you and you're huffing and puffing, red in the face, all out sprint, okay? And so when you start running, or if you're coming back to running after a long time off, I would always encourage you to start really, really slowly and easily and keep your level of effort at a 2 to 3 out of 10. That means conversation pace. So if we were jogging together, we could hold a conversation. Again, maybe not as easy as I'm talking right now, but you're able to talk and get the words out without huffing and puffing. So check in with yourself. There's no need to go out there and say like, okay, well, I've only got 10 minutes. I'm going to go out an all-out sprint. No, okay? Okay, so start low, go slow. Remember your level of effort scale. Running is definitely a long game. It's about consistency and sustainability so that you continue to want to do it. It's not really about getting quick wins. There are no quick wins in this sport. Number three, commit to your workouts. So, what I would advise is treating your runs like important appointments because they are. They're appointments with yourself. Tips to do this. Tips to do this. Number one, plan ahead. I have my athletes look at their week ahead or their month ahead and find the time for their runs, find the time for exercise. So write your running time into your calendar the way you would for a doctor's appointment or for your kiddo's soccer game. Like get it on the calendar, block off that time, and don't schedule things there. It's easier said than done, but sometimes we procrastinate and we put it off, and then all of a sudden it's the end of the day, it's dark out, and we didn't get the run in. So for me, I find it best to do my workouts early in the morning and get it done in the first part of the day. You may find that something else works better for your schedule. And another bonus tip here is that there is no need to be, there's no need to have all or none thinking about it. So let's just say you have scheduled a 20-minute jog. And what if you can't fit in the 20 minutes? A lot of people will just scrap the whole thing and say, well, I can't do the 20 minutes, forget it, I'm not doing it. I would encourage you to consider like, okay, you can't do 20 minutes, but how about 10? Like 10 is better than none, right? And so if you miss a workout completely, you can do a few things. You can move it to another day. And if you can't move it to another day, it's okay to cross it off and move on. Like put that out of your mind, start fresh the next day. Don't beat yourself up about it. So we have the plan, it's on the calendar. We have a contingency plan. If we can't do the whole workout, can we do part of the workout? And if we have to move the workout, that's okay. And if we have to miss the workout, we're going to cross it out. We're going to move on and not beat ourselves up about it. Again, consistency will beat intensity every time. So if you can get into the habit of consistency, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for the body and the mind to establish a new routine. So at the beginning, give yourself some grace here. But once you hit that like 3 week mark of doing the thing regularly, you'll have a great chance that it will continue and be long lasting. That was 2012 when I started running, and I would say I've been consistently running now for 13 years. You never know where it will take you. Okay, number four. Number four, my tip is pick a goal race. So, a race really helps to create motivation and structure. It can be a North Star of sorts for your training, give you something to work toward. And when I signed up for that first race, I was doing a good job of being consistent with 3 times a week running, and I was loving how I was feeling. But putting the race on the calendar was really helpful to create a sense of excitement and to kind of have a deadline. Like, here's my goal I'm working toward. And it gave me accountability. It was also something that I could do together with Tony. And again, that was a time where we were not seeing each other very much due to our work schedules and a really long commute and just a crazy time. So this was something that we could do together when we had a day where we could run together and train for it. So if you have a partner or a friend, this can be a really fun way to motivate each other and stay accountable. Now, how to look for a race. I love the website runningintheusa.com. If you check that out, you can enter where you live, you can enter the dates that you're looking for, the month you're looking for, the distance of the race you're looking for, and you can find all sorts of really fun events that you may not have heard of before. So I love that website, runningintheusa.com. Okay, and now tip number five. Number five is get help identifying your blind spots. So, there are quite a few common blind spots for newer runners. I'm going to share three. The first is with regard to pacing. So, newer runners tend to go out way too fast. And I'll talk a little bit about the 80/20 rule. So, this means that 80% of your training, you want to be in the aerobic zone, the easy zone, the conversation zone. You don't want to be doing speed workouts, hill repeats, and all-out sprints for 80% of your workouts because that is a surefire recipe for overtraining, injury, burnout, all the things. So again, consistency wins out every time. To stay consistent, doing 80% or more of your runs in that zone two aerobic easy zone, that's what we aim for. The 20% can be harder. So for newer runners, honestly, I try to make 100% in the easy zone so that it feels good to the body and the body can get used to this new routine before we ever consider doing some speed work. So really embrace that start low, go slow mentality. And remember your level of effort scale, 2 to 3 out of 10. The second common pitfall would be with regard to intensity. So, doing too much too quickly. Trying to progress, for example, from couch to half marathon over a really short period of time. So, for reference, a training cycle for a half marathon is about 12 weeks of dedicated training for the half, plus a period of time before that of building your base. So, we call that base training. That could be anywhere from 3 months to a year, depending on where you're starting from and where we need to get to before the half marathon training begins. So I wouldn't recommend going couch to half marathon in 2 or 3 months. Like we want we want a period of time to get the body used to running. We need to remember that doing too much too quickly can lead to some negative effects. The third common pitfall for newer runners, I would say, is overtraining. So you're enjoying it so much. You get that runner's high after you cross the first finish line, and then you immediately sign up for another race, and then another race, and more races, and you stack your calendar with all of these races. And I was certainly guilty of this. I signed up, I remember after the first half marathon I ran, I signed up for like three more right away. And that can lead to overtraining and injury if we're not careful about how we do that. I'm not saying you can't do lots of half marathons in a short period of time. There is a way to approach it so that you're not racing them all and not potentially getting injured. Now, why self-coaching can be tricky. So, we don't always know what we don't know, and we have a lot of blind spots, especially when we start with something new. And I would say that my running changed dramatically. My life changed dramatically when I hired my first running coach. So, shout out to Coach Billy Blazer. He really helped to change my approach to running and really embrace the science behind the sport. And, I'm a bit of a science nerd, and so that certainly appealed to me. That won't appeal to everyone, but he helped me to understand why I was training at different paces and the importance of conversation pace and easy running and the 80-20 principle and all of these things, and ultimately inspired me to become a coach. So you never know where this will lead, but having a coach, even in the short term, can save you time. I can't imagine how much time I would have saved if I had known about Coach Billy a lot sooner. So I started running regularly in 2012, and I think we started working together in 2017. So 5 years. I could have I could have really shortened the length of time to my success in the sport if I had found him a lot sooner. So yes, having a coach can save time, prevent injury and overtraining, provide encouragement and accountability, and boost confidence. So a shout out to all of the coaches out there. Most of us coaches have coaches because we understand the value so much. So there we have it. I want to emphasize that every runner starts somewhere, and often that is with a very short, very humbling first run. For me, around the block in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. But those small steps add up. And I am living proof that you can go from 5 minutes to a 5K and beyond, far beyond. So, to review, 5 lessons from my journey to that first 5K. Number one, find your why. Number two, start low and go slow. Number three, commit to your workouts. Number four, pick a goal race. And number five, get help identifying your blind spots. So there you have it. And with that, I will give you two pieces of homework, two questions. I want you to reflect on what is your why and what is one small step you can take this week. So, what is your why and what is one small step you can take this week? If today's episode has you feeling inspired to start or restart your running journey, I'd love for you to join me for my upcoming workshop, The Confident Runner Formula: 5 Secrets to Training for Your Next Race. We are going to dive deeper into the strategies I use with my athletes so that you can train smarter and not harder, and run stronger and feel more confident on your race day. You can grab a spot for that at the link that I'll leave in the show notes. And if a fall 10K is on your radar, a 10K is 6.2 miles, my 10K Your Way program is going to be enrolling soon. I am super excited about this program. It's going to be an 8-week running group leading up to the Run the Bridge 10K event, which is happening in Philadelphia on November 2nd. If you are local to the area, we are going to have some in-person group runs, but if you are not local to the area, the race actually has a virtual option, and so this group is open to everyone. You can pop your name on the wait list now so that you're the first to know when registration opens and grab all of the bonuses and the discount associated with that. So you'll find both of those links for the workshop and the 10K program waiting for you in the show notes. And I can't wait to help you train for your next race, no matter your starting point. So, thanks again for joining me. If you love this episode, I would appreciate it so much if you would consider leaving a review on iTunes. It helps other runners to learn about the podcast and to get started on their running journey. So, thanks again for joining me, and I will see you next week.
Thank you for listening today. If you enjoyed the episode, please share it with a friend. And if you have a moment, please rate and review the podcast so that we can reach and encourage others to tie on their sneakers and join us out there on a run. See you next time.